Good morning everyone. This is Kamikawa Kaolin. Koreans lie. Chinese people were still better. Is the word of an old lady who lived on the pre-war peninsula. In South Korea, similar to China, for the benefit of our nation, our people, and our family for a long time. There is an ethical view that allows falsehood, distortion, and fabrication. Indeed, South Korea did not feel guilty, withdrew its previous words, and lied to lies. To win, lies, forgery, fraud, tears, tells, threats, blackmail, takeovers, and so on. Just like a yakuza develop a victim business, using all means, and, this is justice in Korea, it is no wonder that the world feels aversion to South Korea. Especially in South Korea, human rights violations against women and a sense of discrimination are terrible. While telling lies that Japan was forced to be recruited, and sex-slaved, the truth is, Koreans themselves have made women sex slaves. No, they are still sex slaves. How do you explain the reality of this country, South Korea? However, President Moon Jae-in every time I emphasize that South Korea is a safe country. How thick is he on the surface? In October 2017, at a festival sponsored by the National Police Agency, foreign tourists have selected South Korea as the safest country in the world for the second consecutive year, he said. In fact, the number of criminal law offenses recognized in South Korea was 1.82 million, FY 2017. Even if you look at the real numbers, it is twice as large as Japan. Considering that the population is about 40% of Japan, 50 million people, the crime rate is about 5 times that of Japan. According to the 2010 Britannica International Yearbook, the number of murder cases reported per 100,000 population is 2.1 in South Korea and 1 in Japan. The number of injuries reported is 64.6 in South Korea and 16.0 in Japan, which is 4 times as many as in Japan. Besides, the number is the number. Robbery Japan 2.87, South Korea 8.89, assault Japan 22.87, South Korea 221.82, arson Japan 0.85, South Korea 7.06, theft Japan 132.23, South Korea 542.52, rape Japan 0.92, South Korea 39.46, embezzlement Japan 1.31, South Korea 52.10. In each case, the number of crimes is several tens of times that of Japan. Korea usually praises itself as, Korea values morality and etiquette, but it seems that we cannot even understand that the actual society is in the exact opposite situation. 2020 edition. Looking at the statistics on sex crime rates in Japan and South Korea and forced obscenity of rape, comparing the two numbers, South Korea is about 3.5 to 7.8 times higher than Japan. In recent years, there have been many assaults on Japanese women by Koreans living in Japan. A special feature was published in the magazine. The following is a sexual crime case by Koreans living in Japan. 1 Kim Hywa suspect, Korean in Japan, rapes 19 women. Osaka, Hyogo and Kobe and Osaka, I broke the window glass of the balcony of a woman living alone and invaded. Rape a woman who came home. After that, I tied the limbs of the woman, put it in a large carry bag, and carried it to my home. Repeat rape again. The number of victims recognized in the trial is 19. Kim himself stated that he had done 30 cases. Because one of the victims remembered the approximate path when he was brought to Kim's home. I was able to identify the place of confinement, Kobe District Court, indefinite imprisonment. Asahi Shimbun and NHK Do Not Say, real name equals Kim Peace, reported that, Yamamoto Peace equals Yamamoto Hirokazu. I turned down that I was in Japan. 2. Suspect Kim Toshiaki, Korean in Japan, rapes 18 women. Akuno, Osaka, rape a woman on the streets of Akuno-ku, Osaka, threatening her with a pistol and dragging her into the car. The suspect was identified from the DNA of the body fluid left on the scene and the video footage of the assault. The victims are 18 women aged 12 to 24 years. I use a pistol at the time of the crime. Think about suicide after the incident. Some victims are unable to go out alone. The Asahi Shimbun named the suspect, Toshiaki Matsuoka, reported as Japanese, indefinite imprisonment, Osaka District Court. 3 Rape Lee Jung-on, Korean in Japan, and 8 women. Hamamatsu City, invading a house in Hamamatsu City. assaulting and arresting a 15-year-old girl who was at home alone at the time, etc. He was charged with rape, injuries and theft against 8 people, and was charged with a total of 11 cases. Shizuoka District Court Hamamatsu Branch. The crime is rough, mean and inhuman. I have to say that it is malicious and the criminal liability is very heavy. He was sentenced to 18 years in prison for Lee. 4 Lee Dong-ho suspect, Korean in Japan, raped 3 women. Tokyo aiming for a woman who walks alone while being absorbed in operating mobile phones in Tokyo, repeated rape by the method of invading the apartment afterwards. The method of the crime was to ride a motorcycle, search for a woman returning home. After deciding the target, the motorcycle is stopped and walked to follow. If the victim lives in an auto-locked condominium, enter the condominium from the emergency stairs instead of the front door. Emergency stairs are often unlocked and easy to commit crimes, he said. After confirming the woman's stop floor, she climbed the stairs and committed the crime. After being arrested for attempted rape captured by an acquaintance of a victim woman, 3 crimes were discovered. 5 Song Gyul Korean. Raped 19 women, including housewives, living along Mahiro Dori. A vicious technique such as staying until the morning after the crime, taking a picture with a camera and closing the mouth. It was reported on the TV station as Mahiro Dori Continuous Women's Assault Case. The appearance of the criminal reflected in the security camera was reported, and a special feature was set up on TV. However, as soon as Korean Song Ji-etsu was arrested, the media has stopped mentioning this incident at all. 6 Kim In-shuk, Korean. He caused a rape case in South Korea and came to Japan for the purpose of escape just before being wanted. September 1998. In Osaka City, her husband continuously rapes housewives, aiming only at private houses immediately after going to work. About 80 victims in 2 years. However, while knowing this fact, the media considered Japan-Korea friendship, Korean boom, and I didn't report at all. I killed the women who were raped. Yun-sik Kim was arrested after more than 80 women were raped in Osaka. Whereas the Yomiuri Shimbun and Sankei Shimbun report under their real names as Park Holy Line, Asahi Shimbun, and Mainichi Shimbun, it is reported using the popular name Sume as Ibedo Holy Line. If real name equals Park, you can tell that the suspect is not Japanese, so the Asahi Shimbun and Mainichi Shimbun use the common name Sume and tend to report it as a Japanese crime. Moreover, these special permanent residents cannot be deported from Japan even after they have been released. Because the Japanese media tends to hide Korean crimes, the public cannot know what is happening in Japan. However, when a serious incident occurs as a result of publicity reporting and the suspect's name is not reported, it may be misunderstood that, I can't give a name because of special circumstances in the background equals, maybe I'm in Japan again. It may cause unfounded certification in Japan. 7 Suspect Takanaoyuki, Korean in Japan. Rape 2 women, Yamanashi Sagamihara. 8 Yoshiaki Kim, Korean in Japan. Rape 6 women, Kyoto. 9 Sendaifuku suspect, Korean in Japan. Rape a 19-year-old woman, Gifu. 10. Suspect Kim Ryu, Korean in Japan, rapes 4 women, Sumiyoshi, Osaka. 11. Bae-sung Tae, Korean resident in Japan. Rape threatening 14 elementary schoolgirls with a knife, Yokohama. 12. Shoichi Lee, a Korean resident in Japan. Continuous rape of a girl who claims to be related to Fuji TV. About 140 victims, Tokyo. 13. Lee Dong-yi, Korean. Professor at Dankook University. Rape a Japanese actress while visiting Japan to watch a play. The perpetrator was accompanied by a Korean attorney in Japan, after which the victim's actress withdrew the charges. 14. Shen Weekly, Korean resident in Japan. Raped 9 women by invading the room from the balcony, Totora, Osaka, Wakayama. 15. Jong This Morning, Koreans living in Japan. Raped by inviting a girl in the 4th grade of elementary school saying, I have something to look for. 16. Choi Chi, a student at Korea University. 2 women resting in the car are injured with a wooden sword and raped. 17. Minoru Kim, a student of Korea University. Same as above, accomplice. There is another 19-year-old accomplice, North Korean registered. 18. Joji Obara, Kim Holy Bell, former Korean resident in Japan. Rape a British woman taking drugs. Indicted for rape in 6 other cases. Lucy Blackman case, 19. Kimbo Korean resident in Japan. Raped 7 Japanese girls in the church. Sacred God Central Church case, Kyoto. 20. Bunsa Isao Korean. Professional baseball player, affiliation, Ehime Mandarin Pirates, invades the house of a woman who works at a restaurant, grabs her hair and rapes her. He came to Japan as a professional baseball outfielder, but 2 months later he was committing a crime. 21. Lee Senkichi, a Korean resident in Japan. A woman who was waiting for a friend at the station was threatened with a utility knife and raped in a nearby vacant lot. After that, she repeats rape for 10 hours in her apartment until she releases the woman. Gifu, 22. Naoyuki Taka, a Korean resident in Japan. Threatened a high school girl, took away by car and raped in the mountains of Yamanashi Prefecture. Another teenage girl is dragged into the car in Sagamihara City and raped. 23. Zuichi is a Korean resident in Japan. Raped 9 high school girls around Minami, Osaka. DNA match of body fluid in 2 cases, 25 years in prison. 24. Hiroshi Hakuyo, a Korean resident in Japan. He broke into the room of a woman in her 20s in a condominium in Minato-ku, Osaka, and assaulted her with a knife. There is a criminal record of continuous rape, and the crime immediately after the release. A special feature was published in the magazine. And so on, there is no end to the list. South Korea has the 4th highest rape rate in the world, according to the materials prepared by Static Brain from the 2014 UN statistics, etc. In terms of the number of rapes per 100,000 people, Lesotho in the southern part of the African continent is ranked first. Second place is Trinidad and Tobago, a small Caribbean country. Third place is Scandinavian Sweden, and Korea is in 4th place. It is estimated that 33.7 people per 100,000 people are raped in South Korea. According to materials released by the OECD, the number of rape crimes in Japan is less than 2 per 100,000. The incidence of rape in South Korea is by far the highest in Asia. Although there are variations depending on the statistics, the incidence of sex crimes in South Korea is high in all the materials. In fact, even in the 2012 crime analysis, released by the Supreme Public Prosecutor's Office in South Korea, it conveys the number and increasing trend of sex crimes. There was also a shocking incident this year that proved it. The too deep darkness of the shocking sex crime, Nth Room case, that occurred in South Korea. Rape shooting, carving, slave, on the skin. South Korea, no, the world-shaking sex crimes have been revealed. On March 21, 2020, a man with a «doctor» account name was arrested online. Men run a member-only chat group, commonly known as Room N. I was making a profit by uploading obscene images of women. That alone may not be much different from the case arrested in Japan. But what was scary was the scale and content. A video of a sex crime was uploaded to this chat group. In addition, despite the fact that browsing was charged, a total of 260,000 members were browsing. Assuming all paid members were men, it is estimated that 1 in 100 Korean men paid for images and videos of sex crimes. A mechanism to browse the billing amount separately for each room. Chat rooms run by members such as «doctor» are divided into several parts. They were numbered «first room» and «second room», respectively. Therefore, the case name is «North Room». Chat rooms have different billing amounts for each room. It was a mechanism to charge up to 130,000 yen. If you wanted to see more radical obscene videos, you had to pay a high bill. The victim woman was recruited by the doctor as a part-time job, and had her personal information provided at the time of application. And after giving a sexy image because it is necessary for application, threatening to show it to my family, it is said that he was allowed to shoot more radical videos such as masturbating. In malicious cases, rape scenes were filmed and torture was performed on the skin as slaves. In addition, the victim threatened, "If you don't want to get worse, bring another woman." It gave birth to more victims. Eventually, there were 74 victims, 14 of whom were minors. 2 million people signed to publish their membership list. The incident has been news enough to blow away the new coronavirus in South Korea. What happened immediately was a movement to publish the membership list. As of March 24, on the Korean news site NATE, out of the top 15 access rankings in the article ranking the situation is that the nth room case occupies 6. Entertainers also expressed their opinions one after another. EXO's Baekhyun and Chanyeol, actor Ahn Bo-yeon, top entertainers such as CNBLUE's Jung Young-hwa. It has announced that it has signed the member list release. Why did it lead to such a movement? The reason is the difficulty of arrest. 13 people, including the chat room operator, were arrested. It is physically and legally difficult to arrest all 260,000 people who have just viewed it. For general members, it is difficult to distinguish from the case of simply browsing an adult site. It is causing a big ripple. After all, 1 in 100 Korean men is the perpetrator. The background to this incident is there is a long-standing paradox of women's disdain and women's preferential treatment in Korea. For example, in 2019 members of the popular idol group Big Bang have retired from the entertainment world. The reason was suspicion of obscene service mediation. The latest best-selling novel, Kim Ji-young, born in 1982, identify the discrimination that Korean women still suffer. Female children are the last to eat rice with their families. Women's smoking is pointed at their backs as not good. A mother who apologizes to her mother-in-law for giving birth to a daughter. It is a custom that a woman cannot be put on the first customer by taxi. Small discrimination accumulates, making it difficult for Korean women to live. On the other hand, Korean men say that women are given preferential treatment. Originally, in South Korea, only men are required to serve for 2 years, so as a benefit, I received the military additional point system. Men who have completed military service are given special points in civil servant recruitment exams. It was abolished in 1999 due to opposition from women, but there were continuing complaints that this was women's preferential treatment. In 2011, 80% agreed with the reintroduction of the military addition point system. The Korean woman I interviewed, the nth room case, is a case in which dissatisfaction for 10 years exploded. In Korea, it's cool to call yourself a feminist. There has been a move to eliminate discrimination against women for more than 10 years. However, the values that men should escort and earn on dates remain. Besides, only men are in military service. Men who cannot go to military service for some reason are beaten by rags. And it was the generation over 40 that the sexual violence was terrible. Today's Korean men are taught gender equality. And yet, I understand that some people feel that only women have the right to forgive. The nth room case is not just a manifestation of libido, the view that it is a crime from misogyny, a position that hates women who do not obey patriarchy, is it is said that there are many among Koreans. Korean women are discriminated against by the elderly, and at the same time he carries a paradox that is jealous of preferential treatment from his generation. Discrimination against women also leads to discrimination against men. The nth room case is by no means another person's affair. Even in Japan, there are many men who hold misogyny. There is a group called incel all over the world who hates women because they cannot have a lover. The nth room case, because it was a crime that could happen anywhere in the world as long as you open the chat room. A total of 260,000 people have been able to help. In this way, Mr. Lee's disdain for women and human rights violations from the Joseon era intricately intertwined with the current status of women in tatame. What still remains is the current state of Korea. There is no doubt that resentment and jealousy are at the root of this. From now on, the trend was to protect the status and human rights of women in an easy-to-understand manner. If that is achieved a little, next is the jealousy that women are too blessed and cheating. Changing the trend to jealousy can be thought of. In response to the question, will this be resolved if it becomes rich? It has become a society that drags down those who are considered blessed. The answer may be the true word. Such a country of Shura, a power of crime, a country of lies, South Korea, what words can the world believe in? I'm jealous of Japan, I'm trying to despise Japan, I can only think of it as a word of resentment. From there, no correct answer will be found for South Korea. Koreans lie. Chinese people were still better, is the word of an old lady who lived on the pre-war peninsula. The Japanese, and people all over the world, should never forget this word. Don't be fooled by Korean lies. That's all.